Um, okay, so Ms. Dugas is on probation for the offense of robbery, a second-degree felony. We were previously here, and she entered pleas of true to counts 1 through 12, all of the counts in that motion, second amended motion to revoke unadjudicated probation. I received the updated pre-sentence report as well as a letter from Ms. Dugas. Has everyone had an opportunity to review that?
Sure.
Are there any additions or corrections?
None from the defense, Your Honor. No,
All right, and this was unagreed, correct? Ms. Holmes, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Spoken with Ms. Dugas, obviously the various new offenses and violations is not acceptable through probation. She understands that. She stated that throughout this time, she did not have much support. She was going through a hard time in life, and she resorted to doing and committing these offenses, not being in obviously the right state of mind to be able to successfully complete probation. Ultimately, Ms. Dugas is requesting to have the opportunity to be reinstated to complete probation, and she would like to address the court in regards to this as to her plan of how she can successfully complete if given the opportunity.
Okay, go ahead.
You go, Ms. West. Complete this probation.
The video starts with Miss Dugas standing in front of the judge, and you can tell there's a lot of tension. She's on probation for robbery, a serious crime, but now she's facing new charges: drug possession, resisting arrest, and not checking in with her probation officer. Things aren't looking good for her. She tries to explain that she was having a tough time and didn't have much support, but that doesn't matter when you're on probation for robbery and still breaking the law. The judge isn't buying her excuse, and neither am I. The court reminds her that this was her second chance and she blew it. The result? 8 years in prison. The scary part is, if she messes up again, she could get at least 25 years as a habitual offender, which could mean life in...
I know it's going to be extended if you do spread it to my family job. I'm going to rate it. I'm being like I don't tell my doing out with these times well.
Ms. Dugas, you did the exact same thing. You robbed someone else while you're on probation for robbery. Not just rob someone else. You failed to ID, failed to report to probation. You committed the new offense of possession of a controlled substance. You resisted arrest or... It's ridiculous to me that you're saying you want a second chance, because this was your second chance. You've already been on probation. You were given the second chance of not going to prison. The fact that Ms. Holmes negotiated a cap of 8 years for you, you should thank your lucky stars. This is ridiculous. 8 years, in my opinion, is not enough. You had every opportunity to do all the things that stop crying, because you weren't crying when you were robbing people and using drugs and not being a good mom and not doing the things that you should have done when you were given this opportunity. Right? Ms. Malfino?
Let's talk about Mr. Antwine's case, and it's even more serious. He's on probation for aggravated assault related to family violence, but instead of changing his ways, he commits another crime. This time strangling someone in Louisiana. The judge points out that he had access to mental health help, community service programs, and other support, but he didn't use any of it. Instead, he's back in court asking for a lighter sentence. The judge doesn't accept that and sentences him to 15 years in prison. It's hard to argue with that decision. The judge says his actions weren't just violent, but also repeated, which is a major red flag. It's a tough situation, but the court's job is to protect...
Sorry.
I don't think I need to add anything to the court. I think, did you follow the agreement that age at the very least is appropriate for her based on the number of violations? I spoke with Mr. Champ yesterday. He does not want to continue to work with her. This is actually her third MTRP. It's about her fifth chance in line of use, not just her second chance in line of use. So
Ms. Dugas, I'm going to find that you entered your pleas of true to counts 1 through 12 freely and voluntarily. Find those counts true. Find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time, find you guilty of robbery. Going to sentence you to a term of 8 years in the Institutional Division of the Texas Department of Corrections. You will receive credit on that sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. I'm handing you the trial court certification that shows this was an agreement that I followed, and so you've waived your right to appeal. I've also handed you a written admonishment regarding your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. Because of the judgment entered against you, you're ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Possession of a firearm or ammunition could lead to charges against you. Firearm is a legal term, and you should read that written admonishment I provide you to see what devices qualify as a firearm. If you have questions about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or about how long that lasts, you can talk to Ms. Holmes. I hope you take some advantage of this and actually do what you're saying you're going to do when you get out and change your life. There's programs in prison. Take advantage of them, but you're not going to continue to get opportunities like this. If you continue to violate the law after this, you're going to be considered a habitual offender. And if you do anything again, your minimum punishment is going to be 25 years. 25 years minimum for what you've been doing. So you need to change your life or you're never going to see your kids, right? Go back with the bailiff.
Both of these cases really show how tough probation can be. On paper, it's supposed to give people a chance to turn their lives around, but as we see here, it doesn't always work. Miss Dugas and Mr. Antwine both had chances to get their lives back on track, but personal struggles, bad choices, and not taking responsibility held them back. It's a reminder that probation isn't a free pass. It's a second chance with serious responsibilities. If you don't take it seriously, the consequences can be harsh. The judge's message is clear. If you get a chance to change, you better.
Good morning. Are you Wesley Antwine? And Mr. Antwine is here for sentencing on probation, a deferred probation for aggravated assault, family violence, and that was a 10-year deferred probation that he was given back November 14th of 2023. Entered pleas of true, it looks like, to counts 1 through 11 in the motion to revoke unadjudicated probation. I've received an updated pre-sentence report. This was an open plea to the court. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. The court had previously, when we were here before, it advised the court, that he received 4 months on that new case in Louisiana, but it does involve the same victim, Miss Red, as his case here.
Mm-hmm.
We had discussed 6. The court did not feel comfortable with that, so we've just decided to go on to you.
Okay. All right. So that's what, and I wanted to remind myself, I had a notation on this about that new offense. So the new offense was in Louisiana, and it was domestic abuse, battery, also by strangulation, correct? Against the same victim. All right. Mr. Lewis, you may proceed.
Judge, in this situation, among my conversations with Mr. Antoine here, a lot of his issues come back to his mental health problems. And at the time, I believe he was not really open about getting the help that he needed with these issues. And once he got on probation, of course, those issues have already became in a very unstable situation. He admitted that he was homeless for a period of time there, which is why he went back to Louisiana. All of his family is there. We had some sort of support system. But Judge, he understands that he did mess up. He understands that,
What's also interesting is how the judge handles these cases. They're strict but fair, making it clear that while personal struggles are real, they don't excuse criminal behavior. The court's message is simple. If you're given a chance to change, you better take it seriously. And let's not forget the judge's warnings about habitual offender laws. If you mess up again, you're looking at decades in prison. It's a tough reminder of how high the stakes are. For Miss Dugas, it's 8 years now, but if she messes up again, she could face at least 25 years. For Mr. Antwine, it's 15 years.